UFC Fight Night Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira wrapped up this weekend, and I would have had this video out last night, but my entire recording had no audio, and I was already dead tired. So I figured we'd go through this morning and do my post-card reaction. I didn't do amazing on the card, but I think I did pretty good in terms of my picks. This was a really entertaining card, so let's just go ahead and get into it with the early prelim opener of Claudia Segula versus Priscilla Cachoeira. I got this wrong, 0-1 to start the card. I thought Claudia Segula would be a victim to the woman who looks like a man in Cachoeira, but no. First round, Claudia Segula starts jabbing Cachoeira's face off, gets her nose busted and bloodied, and that momentum just carries through. The second and third round, there was some, crappy takedown exchanges from, Cachoeira you see there. But total strikes, especially even significant strikes, Segula outlanded her, by an insane amount. Put damage on her face. At the end of the fight, Cachoeira had her hand up like she won while looking like a donut with how much swelling her face had. And I think she lost it unanimously, 30-27. So she's got some work to do, but good win for Claudia Segula. We just go 0-1 to start the card, and that's not all. We go 0-2 to start the card. Muin Gafurov versus Jakub Wiklak. Now, I'm actually really happy to get this wrong because with Muin Gafurov missing weight, and just him being the more tenured fighter, I thought he would get the win. But Jakub, like a mini RDR, sloppy but fun, entertaining. Puts it on Gafurov, wins the first round, loses the second round, actually wins the third round. But right at the end there, Gafurov tapped and then act like he won, and he's an idiot and that'll haunt him for the rest of life. I don't understand. I understand because when you're deep in a choke, your ears, your hearing kind of gets dulled. But the clapper on the 10 seconds is so loud. And in his corner screaming at him. You can hear, don't tap. There's only a second left. I don't know. But a good win for Jakub Wiklak. I was kind of happy that he won. I wanted him to win. I just didn't think he would. So I went with Gafurov. But a great win for Jakub. I don't know if he'll be anything. He tends to gas pretty quickly. He literally is like RDR, like a Pokemon de-evolution. But a great win for him nonetheless. 0-2 to start the card, though. We move on to Wang Kong versus Eduardo Mora. This was the first fight we got right. I think we took Wang Kong by decision or finish, but this was an aggressive fight nonetheless. It starts, Mora comes out really aggressive, trying to grapple Wang Kong. Wang, puts her down with a few big shots here and there, gets her nose bloody, but then Wang starts taking damage. It was pretty much just Mora trudging forward as Wang was trying to get her respect, and even though she was winning the fight, Mora would just keep zombieing forward, like, I'm going to try to get this takedown and get close, because Wang Kong is a striker, and she's violence, which you don't see too often in the women's MMA area. And she was landing good shots. I think she even dropped. Did she drop her? Yeah. What round was that in? Round 1. Yeah, she dropped her bad. I remember that. She almost put her out right there and then Mora somehow survived over 3 rounds. But I mean, it was an ass whooping pillar to post. Even though she got the takedowns, Wang Kong was really good about defending rear naked chokes when she got her back taken, peeling off and getting up when it's all said and done. So great one for Wang Kong. I'm excited to see what she can do. She just needs to work on her grappling a bit. We were so close to her getting subbed yet again after winning on the feet, so she needs to work on that. But we move on to Javid Basharat versus Gianni Vasquez. Now, we got this right, 2-2 on the card. Javid Basharat gets the win, but it wasn't a great fight. He looked kind of frail in this. He didn't take shots too well, and even though Gianni came in on 2 days' notice, made it a close fight, he still lost, and I saw Basharat was talking about, hey, have some respect, you missed weight and I still took this fight. But it was a close fight, though. I mean, it was a unanimous decision, but round 1, all Basharat with the striking. It doesn't look like either man was able to get any grappling off too well. Round 2, though, Basharat gets his own grappling off, but Gianni looks for sub attempts from the bottom. And round 3, Basharat puts it away with his own 2 takedowns and significant strikes. So round 2 is probably the hairiest one, but he decisively wins that 30-27. If not, I think both the Basharat bros got a 29-28 decision. Sorry, excuse me, I had to burp. But yeah, great one for Basharat. He is a little frail, though. I think he got hurt really bad in this fight by a shot that he probably shouldn't have, but good one for him nonetheless. We move on. Bruna Brazil versus Ketlin Souza. 3-2 on the card for me. I got this right. Ketlin Souza got the win. If you pick who looks more like a man in women's MMA, you tend to get your picks right more often. Bruna Brazil just wasn't doing enough. Obviously, she had a good first round striking, taking down Souza. And Souza picked it up in round 2 and 3, putting the striking on her, clinching her up against the fence. And Bruno Brazil was too busy smiling in every exchange to get out and get damage or get it ranged from Souza. So, great win for Souza. We move on. That puts us at what? Hold on. 1 and 2, 2 and 2, 3 and 2. Okay. Nikolai Vretnikov versus Nico Price. We picked Nikolai, so we're at 4 and 2. This was hard to watch, dude. Nico Price, there was an exchange. I don't even remember the sequence. It was like an overhand, blah, 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 blah. And then Vretnikov lands an elbow that literally just, like, sets Price against the cage standing up. And he was out so cold, like a drunk guy pissing on a wall and falling into it and calling it a night, that when he woke up, he was like, why'd you stop the fight? He didn't even know. Like, that's like next level knocked out. When you get knocked out beyond consciousness and don't even remember it. It's just heartbreaking for Nico Price. I want him to retire. I don't know why he didn't, and he'll probably fight again. The UFC, they're just going to keep those guys to give Vretnikov layups and stuff like that. Like, guys like that they want to build. But a great win for Vretnikov nonetheless. If you're destroying Nico Price in round 1, you're on a good track. It'd be worse if he took this to a decision. Great win for Vretnikov. We move on. Alex Morono versus Daniil Donchenko. We're 5 and 2 on the card. Alex Morono, he's just a victim out there, man. And his chin held up in this one because I feel like we've seen him get chinned if you can land clean on him. But in this fight, he was able to stay there. He did put some damage on Donchenko in a sense. Daniel said at the end of the fight, I didn't like this fight, how sloppy I let myself get, how much damage I took, because he was a bit busted too. I understand Morono didn't land many shots, but the ones that he did appear to put some damage on Donchenko. But for the most part, Donchenko was just, abusing Morono. Like, they were about to call a domestic assault charge on what he was doing to him over 3 rounds. It's a bit unfortunate that he couldn't get the finish. I feel like Moreno should be a guy that you're finishing, at least at the level of Donchenko. But nevertheless, some guys are just going to be more durable on the night than they usually are. So, great win for Daniil Donchenko. I think we're 5 and 2 on the card. We move on to the main card. Dustin Jacoby versus Julius Walker. We got this right. I think that puts us at 8 and 2 on the main card. So, this fight starts, and Julius Walker is doing very good. He's outstriking Jacoby, putting him on the back foot, even wrestling him up against the cage. And I'm kind of going, shit, what happened? Is Jacoby injured or something? Is Walker just on the juice? But Walker usually has this air of confidence in the first round. He was looking good, but then you saw him kind of mentally start to question himself going into round 2. And it just happened, dude. He got hit with a few shots, started to shell up, put up against the cage, got hit with an overhand. And as much as the overhand hurt him, it didn't drop him, but he chose, I think, to sink to the canvas and survive. And he just took nasty ground and pound from there. Julius Walker, yet again, is a victim in the octagon. His recent win was a life and death decision against Cacares, who just got cut for being bad. So we knew Dustin Jacoby was going to win this. Good win for him. We move on. Gene Matsumoto versus Farid Basharat. We got this right. Let me just do a recount just to make sure I'm where I'm at. Actually, no, we'll just do it at the end of the video. But Gene Matsumoto versus Farid Basharat. This was a close fight. Split decision. I'm trying to get back up to it. People were saying robbery. I don't know. It is what it is. But I'm not really impressed with Farid's performance tonight. He made it very close. He didn't really decisively show that he deserved to win. And he also grabbed the cage, and no one called anything on it. So I feel for Matsumoto being put in that position, but it looks like Basharat was able to land, more of what was significant. And I'm surprised the takedowns didn't secure for Matsumoto. I didn't really pay too much attention to this fight, but just looking at stats, this really does look like Matsumoto should have won. But we got our pick right. Basharat Bros went 2 for 2 tonight. It is what it is, a classic 29-28 decision. Split's just unfortunate, though. But good win for Basharat. I hope Matsumoto doesn't, take too much of, a hit on his next matchup because of this. I hope they give him a guy in the same, level as Basharat going, hey, we still think you can beat a guy like this. But, yeah, great win for Basharat. We'll move on to Mikhail Oleinik. I don't know how to pronounce that, versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I don't know why I didn't change my pick last minute. Just because the odds makers, I saw the odds, because when I made my prediction video, the odds weren't out, but when I saw this fight, day before, the odds completely favored Mikhail, and I was like, oh, I didn't do my research. But I never changed it, and I'm going to accept that. But this was a closer fight than people thought. We thought that Mikhail was going to go out there and shin Marc-Andre Barriault, but Barriault packed his chin tonight. They went, to war. Huge, crazy output, big shots from these guys. I don't know if there was any knockdowns. Doesn't look like it. They didn't even try to grapple. This was just a slugfest on the feet that McCall decisively won, but Marc-Andre Barriault was not completely outclassed in terms of getting chinned like people thought he would. But yeah, great win from McCall. I thought getting armbarred by Kevin Holland meant that you weren't too good, but that's on me for not doing much. I did know that Mark was kind of chinny, but I figured he had the durability in him for this one. But good one from McCall. We move on to the God. Dude, cut all heavyweights. Jailton Almeida himself needs to go to trial before everyone in the Epstein files. I truly do believe that. Because he came out saying, everybody, but in this fight week, he said everybody hated my last performance. I think it was just because I'm Brazilian. If I was a different nationality, I would have loved it. I don't give a fuck. Dude, you could be from Azerbaijan and I'm calling you out on your fuck shit. Shut the fuck up about I'm Brazilian. Bro, Brazilian fighters have been some of the most entertaining fighters in UFC history. You're just a bitch. You show up to an MMA fight to grapple. What are you doing? You could have beat Volkov by landing 5 hammer fists in any of those rounds and they would have given you the win. But you didn't. You didn't land anything. You don't choose to throw. And once you don't get your wrestling off like against a guy like Rizvan Kuniev, the steroid fat fuck that he is, you have nothing. You have a 1-2 that's sloppy and you have a teep that you just turn into a shitty takedown. So Rizvan Kuniev outpaces him over 3 rounds. This was a blob fest. Both of these guys should be cut from the UFC. You have a guy here that doesn't want to fight, and then you have a guy here that doesn't want to be natural. Cut fucking both of them. We move on to the Gooch. This redeemed whatever that fat fuck performance was before this. The Gooch beats Amir Albazi. It wouldn't be an Amir Albazi fight if he wasn't a victim over 5 rounds. He took a lot of damage off Moreno. He took a lot of damage off Kai Kara-France, even though he won that, even though I think Kai should have. But this was pillar to post ass whooping. No grappling really got off for either man. All takedowns stuffed or at least weren't able to be gotten. But the significant strikes tell a story. 73-19. Kyoji Horiguchi had the pace on Albazi. Was landing big. I saw he was going kind of duck under overhands and they were working. He was putting body work in there too. Same thing over 3 rounds. He didn't let Albazi get going. 4 strikes, 9 strikes, 7 strikes. He just put it on him and did not give him an inch. And I think the Gooch is champ material at 125. I think he's really revolutionized himself over these past few years outside the UFC. And I'm super excited to see how he hangs with the top 5. I think Albazi is the top 5, but it's Albazi. I think Horiguchi, would beat Joshua Van. I don't know if he would beat maybe a Brandon Royval, but styles make fights. Let's see what they do next for the Gooch. But great win. We move on to the main event. I don't know how people picked Vinicius Oliveira. Now, I'll preface that because if you've seen his highlights, he's got some KOs. He's a fun striker, explosive, and he's got good counter wrestling. But if you watched his last fight, you would have known this was coming because he gassed out against a Nurmagomedov, and then Nurmagomedov gassed out. And it was a 3-round fight, and in the round 2, they were breathing heavy. I don't know how Vinicius Oliveira saying he was 30 pounds over was not a red flag to anyone. If a fighter is ever 30 pounds over on fight week, even if they make the weight, the weight cutting depletes your regenerative resources in your body, your sleep cycle, your cardio, your immune system. All of that is zapped. So how anybody picked Vinicius going into this, I do not know. But Mario Bautista is a guy who arguably he didn't beat, but I think he knocked down and went to a very close decision with Umar Nurmagomedov. We forgive you, Mario Bautista, for this performance. Vinicius Oliveira is gassed at the end of round 1 after some striking and scrambling, and it was full steam ahead for Bautista. Bautista's a tank of a guy. He's actually a really entertaining fighter when he's not shooting takedowns. But Aldo also notoriously has no effort or wrestling to get off the cage, so how much can you blame Mario? Because Volk did it to Aldo. But yeah, round 2 comes around. Vinicius kind of, I can't remember what happens. A takedown, a scramble, a trip, maybe a stumble. And Mario Bautista, I think, lands in full mount. Vinicius Oliveira bucks, kind of turns to the side. Mario Bautista isolates a Kimura grip on the arm, looks to transition to an armbar. As Oliveira turns, Bautista shoots his hooks over the other side, gets them in, reverses it over his head into a rear naked grip, falls to the back, gets the rear naked choke so fast that Oliveira taps as soon as it's locked in. Sorry, I just woke up and I guess I'm burping a bit, but it was a masterclass from Bautista. Pressure, pace, aggressiveness. That's what Bautista brings. And if he can get the finish, he's looking for it. So a great win for Mario Bautista. I'm not going to match make here. But yeah, I don't really know how many people picked Vinicius Oliveira. There was a lot of people going lock dog. And I'm like, dude, what are y'all doing? I don't know what the hype was around it. But, I mean, nevertheless, this was a pretty good card. Let me count up my my score here now that it's all said and done. So we went 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 2-2. Jeez, I'm already lost. Hold on. 1-2, 3-2, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 8-3, 8-4, 9-4, 10-4. 10-4. Not terrible. If I use my brain a little bit, I think I could have gotten that McCall pick. Nothing else really surprised me. I mean, maybe I should have gone Rizvan after seeing his performance over Blades compared to Jailton's performance to Blades. But overall, this was a really good card. I'm a bit sad that we don't have UFC this weekend, but I'll have a content, topic piece coming out this week, maybe 1 or 2 of them. I got this new setup, so I've been working on that, so that might keep me away from video making. And sorry this came out so late. I've just been very, very busy. If you put any money on this card, I hope you didn't lose it. But yeah, see ya.